Emma Lawson had always been a devoted wife. For 10 years, she had built a life with her husband, Mark, in their elegant home just outside of Atlanta. From the outside, they looked like the perfect couple. Mark was a successful financial consultant, and Emma had left her corporate job to focus on running their home. But beneath the polished surface, cracks had begun to show. Mark was always busy, traveling frequently for work, and when he was home, he seemed distracted. Their conversations had become shallow, their connection fading into nothing more than a shared roof and polite exchanges. Then came Ryan. Ryan, Mark's 23-year-old son from his previous marriage, had recently moved in with them after finishing college. He had always been polite to Emma, treating her with respect, but there was always a certain distance. She had been more of an authority figure than anything else. That dynamic shifted one evening. Emma sat outside on the deck, sipping a glass of wine as the Georgia sunset cast golden light over the backyard. Mark had canceled their dinner plans again, citing a last-minute meeting. She had barely touched her food. Ryan stepped outside, stretching after a long day at the gym. "You okay?" he asked, his tone casual, but his eyes concerned. Emma sighed, swirling the wine in her glass. "Just another lonely night." Ryan leaned against the railing, studying her for a moment. "That's not fair to you." She laughed softly. "Fairness isn't really a factor in marriage." Ryan shook his head. "Still, you deserve better." Something about the way he said it made her stomach tighten. She quickly looked away. "This is my stepson. Stop thinking like this." But from that night on, everything changed. Their conversations grew deeper. Ryan started joining her for late-night chats in the kitchen, offering to help around the house, noticing the little things Mark never did. When she laughed at his jokes, she felt something she hadn't in years seen. One night, a thunderstorm raged outside. Mark was away for another business trip, leaving Emma and Ryan alone in the house. She sat curled up on the couch, watching the rain streak against the windows. Ryan walked in, his hoodie slightly damp from running to grab the mail before the storm worsened. "Power might go out," he said, shaking off the raindrops. Emma pulled the blanket tighter around herself. "Great. I hate storms." Ryan chuckled, sitting next to her. "You don't have to be scared." Their eyes met in the dim light, and suddenly, the air between them felt different, thicker, charged. Before she could second-guess herself, the power cut out, plunging the house into darkness. She gasped softly, and Ryan reached out instinctively, his fingers brushing against hers. The room was silent except for the sound of the rain and their uneven breaths. "This is dangerous," Emma whispered. "I know," Ryan said, his voice low. "But I can't stop thinking about you." She should have pulled away. She should have left the room. But she didn't. The next morning, guilt clawed at her. She barely spoke to Ryan, avoiding him at every turn. But the real nightmare began when Mark came home earlier than expected. Emma was making coffee when she heard his voice. "Emma?" Her pulse jumped. "Hey, you're back early?" "Yeah. Flight got canceled." She forced a smile, but her body tensed as Ryan's bedroom door creaked open. Mark turned his head, glancing between them. His sharp, analytical mind, the same one that made him brilliant in finance, began piecing things together. A long silence filled the room. "Emma," Mark said slowly, "tell me the truth." She swallowed hard. "There's nothing to tell." Mark's expression darkened. "Then why do you look so guilty?" Ryan shifted uncomfortably, his jaw tight. He didn't say a word, but his silence spoke volumes. Mark exhaled sharply, shaking his head. He didn't yell, didn't explode. He simply walked to the bedroom, grabbed his bag, and left. 2 days later, Emma received divorce papers. Ryan moved out shortly after, unable to face what had happened. And Emma? She was left standing in the ruins of her choices, staring at the life she had destroyed. In the end, betrayal wasn't just about what you did, it was about what you felt. And once a line was crossed, there was no turning back.